Hello, and thank you so much for being here this evening for our virtual financial aid night. This virtual financial aid night will be recorded and we'll be sending it to all of the families. So in the email that I sent out and also in Parent Square that we sent out on behalf of the Paloma Valley Counseling Department, there is a sheet for you to go ahead and you can sign in for attendance. And if you have any questions during the meeting, you can also type your questions into that form. So if you take a minute to look in to the meeting notes and the meeting email, you're going to find the two forms. One is for attendance, and then one is if you have any questions during the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a few minutes to access both the attendance sheet and the question sheet as well. And again, this is going to be recording for you to view at a later time. So tonight we do have with us our assistant principal, as you can see here, Ms. Sofia Hernandez. And we also have with us our school counselor, Mr. Ivan Lumba.
Oh no.
Hi, Ms. Sofia, we can hear you. Okay, so thank you to those of you that have joined. I do see you checking in for attendance. So please make sure that you are using the attendance sheet to let us know you are here. And then also if you have any questions during the meeting, be sure to type in your questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a few minutes.
Okay, that should have worked.
Okay, Ms. Sofia, we can hear you as well.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is Kickoff to College Month. We are celebrating all of our seniors and all of students that are going to go for education beyond high school. It is financial aid season. The financial aid application did open October 1st. The deadline is March 2nd. But hopefully tonight we're going to bust some myths to make sure that you're actually applying early. Hopefully nobody is going to wait till March 2nd to fill out their financial aid application. And some questions that have come up in the past that we're going to address tonight is, students that and families that have questions. One myth used to be that some students and parents believed that their family income was too high, so they weren't going to be able to receive any financial aid. We also want to make sure that students know one myth is that you only have to apply one time, but you will actually apply every year that you are in college. And of course, the sooner you apply once it opens, the better of your chances of getting more financial aid. We will go over that. Some students also believe that maybe they're only eligible for loans. And some students have asked that maybe because their family owns a home that they may not be eligible for financial aid. So we're going to go over that and more tonight. And again, this is being recorded. If you have any questions, please type them in and we will go over your questions. Okay, so this is really the basics of financial aid starting from the beginning. Hopefully after this presentation, you're going to understand the different types of financial aid, how to apply for financial aid, the different types of forms. You're going to learn the different deadlines, resources for financial aid. We're also going to go over how the information is collected, how it's determined what type of financial aid, and the calculation that you will receive. Just know that school counselors are always available and we are prepared to help all of our students as well. So even if you don't have questions tonight, just know that at any time you can send us your questions and we're going to find the answers for you. There's all different types of students, of course, attending Paloma Valley High School and all throughout the county and the state. Here are just some samples of some students. So regardless of if the student's going to go from Paloma Valley to a university, to college, or if the student's going to go to Mount San Jacinto College or another of the community colleges in California or out of state, Some students might go to career technical education, which used to be called vocational school. For example, in Temecula, there's San Joaquin Valley College. Some students might go from Paloma Valley directly to the military. But regardless of the student's pathway after high school, and I know there's many more pathways than just the ones listed here, but regardless of whatever path a student takes, everyone's going to need some type of funding at some time. And so tonight, hopefully you're going to learn about all the different types of funding that there are for students and all the programs that are available. Okay, so what is financial aid? Well, hopefully everybody understands that once you graduate from Paloma Valley High School and you want to pursue education, there is a fee, there's a cost to that education. So that we call it tuition, and that's paying for classes. The amount of tuition that a student's going to pay varies college to college. And I have a few different samples for you to see tonight of some of the most common colleges that our students apply to so that you can look at those prices. So there's different costs associated with education beyond high school. One of the main ones is going to be tuition. Some students will live on the campus, so there's also going to be the living, housing expenses, meal plan, and then there's also other expenses such as transportation, books and supplies, and we're going to list some of the cost of attendance for you so that you can view all of that. And that's where financial aid comes into play. So financial aid is an application. And in the application, the students will be assessed to see if they qualify for different types of financial aid to fund their future. Here we have listed some of the types of financial aid. Some students will be eligible for grants, and anytime you see the word grant, that means free money. Now, one of the big myths is that only low-income students will be receiving grants and that middle and high-income students will not receive free money. So we're going to go over that tonight. Another type of financial aid is loans. Some students will be offered loans. In fact, probably every student will be offered a loan. That does not mean that you have to take it, but students will be offered loans. Some students will be offered subsidized loans, which means that those loans don't accrue interest while you're in college. Well, they do accrue interest, but the government pays the interest on those loans. And then there's also unsubsidized loans, which are loans that do have an interest rate, and usually these interest rates are lower. Then there's also scholarships. Students can apply for scholarships. There's all types of websites and reasons that students can win a scholarship. We're going to go over that tonight. And then Veterans Aid. Some students are dependents of veterans, so there may be GI Bill or other types of military benefits for our students. And then there's also work study, where some of our students will be eligible to get a job on campus that actually pays them per hour, and they will receive a paycheck. So all of this is types of financial aid to help our students fund their future. But students are only eligible for these programs if they file a financial aid application. So let's look at the cost of attendance. So I briefly mentioned that once you graduate from Paloma Valley High School and you pursue higher education, whether it be at the Cal State University, the University of California, at college like Mount San Jacinto, Moreno Valley College, Palomar College, Riverside City College, or San Joaquin Valley College, which is career technical education. Those are just a few examples. There is a price associated. Here we can see the estimated cost for the 25-26 school year. Now, soon the 26-27 estimated costs are going to be posted, and those costs are going to be for our seniors because they're going to be first-time freshmen in 26-27. So here we have it laid out exactly what the students are being charged for. So the tuition and fees that we talked about, that's going to be the students' classes. So we can see at San Marcos, it's $6,450 per year. There's other mandatory fees, and those are a little over $2,000. They're estimating that the price of books and materials is going to be a little over $1,000, and that's going to vary student to student because it depends on the classes the student registers for. It also depends on the required materials and books by professor. And then living expenses, that is also an estimate because it depends on the student's housing, whether they get into a the type of housing. Maybe they're in a 4-room or a 6-room. That all depends too. Those prices vary. Also varies by the housing unit. There's different units on the campus. And then, of course, the meal plan. Now, if students are going to be living on campus, they are required to sign up to get a meal plan because of food insecurity. All students must be having some type of food plan. If a student lives within a certain mileage away from the school and they're going to commute, they do need to fill out some forms and ask for permission for that, because it is expected that all students will live on campus year one, because that's part of the experience of being a college student. Then there's also a fee for transportation. If you do take a vehicle to your dorm, there's a fee for parking. But let's say you're going here to college, Mount San Jacinto College, you're probably still going to need some type of transportation. So this could include a car payment. This also could include insurance. It could also include like oil changes and everything else that's associated with maintaining a vehicle. It's also a parking pass, okay, and other expenses. And then personal miscellaneous, that's going to vary as well. So that's going to be your personal necessities like toothpaste, floss, shampoo. It might be makeup, hair products. So that's going to depend. It's going to vary student to student. And then if you do take loans, if the student does take loans, to originate those loans, to put those loans into effect, there's a price at all. And that's for a grand total of $24,608. Now, please be aware that this is for a full-time student, and this is year to year. So this is the price for this school year, which is 25-26. So we're waiting to see what 26-27 price is going to be. So this is the price per year. Okay, and then we go on to look at another example, cost of attendance for UC Riverside. Okay, so we do see this. And give me just one moment, because I do have a question in the questions, and someone is needing the code to enter into the meeting. So give me just one moment. So if you have any questions, please be sure to type them in. And right now, I won't go over all the prices for UC Riverside, because you can see them here. Again, just be aware that this is for this school year, and your student will be a first-time freshman in 26-27. So the fees may change. So we do see here that the tuition is higher. Okay, so tuition at the University of California is a bit higher, but they do have different funding programs, and we'll go over that today as well. So if you have any questions at this time, please feel free to type them in as I'm typing this code in. Okay. And then we're going to look at the cost of Mount San Jacinto College. So just so you're aware, in the past, we used to call these 116 community colleges community college, but in fact, the name has changed, and now it's just called college, just so you're aware. So this is Mount San Jacinto College. As you can see, the community has been dropped. So we do have 116 colleges in California. There's different programs. Students can go here to earn an associate's degree. Students can also go here to complete their transfer requirements and then transfer to a university within the state or out of state or even internationally. Okay, and as we can see here, here are the prices of tuition. Now per unit, it is $46 per unit. Most classes are anywhere from 3 to 5 units per class, and that's going to be your price of tuition. Okay, so currently it is $46 per unit in the state of California. There's other associated fees, books and supplies, food and housing, transportation. And the reason that's factored in is because even if you're living at home, you or your parents are still paying for food, housing, cell phone, and other costs. Okay, so now that we know some of the cost of attendance, we're going to talk about how do you file financial aid, which form do you use? As we mentioned, financial aid application is open now October 1st. There are two types of application where a student will be assessed to see what type of financial aid they qualify for. The first one is the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. It is free to apply. And this is going to be for our students who are US citizens, who are legal residents or eligible non-citizens. It is only for seniors in high school. Okay, this application did open October 1st. We also have the CADA, which is the California Dream Act application. It is also free. This application is for our students that are undocumented or dreamers. It is also this year for students, it started last year, but students that are in mixed status families can also fill out the California Dream Act application instead of the FAFSA. For example, if you are a student who is a US citizen, but maybe one or both of your parents are undocumented, then you can fill out the CADA as opposed to the FAFSA. So for the FAFSA, students will be assessed to see if they qualify for federal student aid, state aid from the state of California, and then institutional aid from the university. The California Dream Act application, students are not eligible for federal aid, but they will be assessed to see if they qualify for state aid and institutional aid. And let's see, we do have some questions that came in. Okay, I'm going to see if one of Mr. Lumba or Miss Sophia, if you could get into Parent Square. There are some parents asking some questions in there about the link. And okay, so how do we know if you're going to qualify? There's only one way to find out is that you do need to file the free application. And that's the best way for us to find out determine if you're going to qualify for financial aid. Once you fill out your financial aid application, then, and students are filing right now, also they're filling out their college applications. They're applying to the Cal State universities. They're also applying to the University of California. They're applying out of state and more. And so once they file their financial aid, it's going to be determined if they qualify for any grants, loans, scholarships, and work study. So we went over the cost of attendance, the COA, and we discussed how the cost of attendance at UC Riverside is about $44,839. So the colleges they have a formula, and they're going to look at the cost of attendance, and they're going to look at the student aid index. The student aid index is calculated once the student submits their FAFSA or their California Dream Act application. Each student's going to receive a student aid index, which we call the SAI. If a student is missing their SAI, that means that there's probably an error in the application and they're missing some information, and we can help them to fill in the missing information so that their financial aid need can be given. So the students that do file correctly are going to receive a student aid index. And this is how much the government thinks that your family can contribute towards the student's education. So this student aid index is going to be given to the student, and the lower your SAI, the more financial aid a student is likely to receive. So the lowest number a student can receive once they file is going to be $1,500. Okay, so from $1,500 and on, it goes on, and then, but again, don't be concerned if your SAI is high, because each university, each college has their very own formula as well, and how they award money is also dependent on the college and university. Okay, so now that financial need, the cost of attendance minus the student aid index is going to be the financial need, and that's going to be covered through grants, scholarships, work study, and loans. Okay. So here are the most common grants. And remember, we mentioned that grants is free money that does not need to be paid back. So some students, upon submitting their FAFSA, they may be receiving some grant money. They're going to know right away from the federal government. That's where they're going to receive their federal Pell Grant estimate. And it can be anywhere from $100 up to $7,395. That's the max that a student can receive in the federal Pell Grant. Now for Cal Grant, that's California's money. The student will not receive this estimate when they fill out their FAFSA. In fact, they're only going to receive information back from the federal government, and 10 to 15 days after they file their FAFSA, they're going to receive an email asking the student to create a Web Grants for Students account, and that's where they're going to be able to look and see if they received a Cal Grant. Cal Grant is California's money, and it can only be used in California. So if a student goes out of state or out of the country, they cannot use their Cal Grant. That can only be used at universities, at colleges here in California. Some students will receive a Cal Grant A or a Cal Grant B or a Cal Grant C. Some students will receive a federal Pell Grant and a Cal Grant. So that can happen. So as we see here at the Cal State universities, the maximum Cal Grant a student can receive is $5,742 a year. And at the UCs, it's going to be $12,570 a year. At the private colleges, which are also known as independent colleges, such as Cal Baptist University, University of Redlands, there's also colleges, USC, those are independent colleges. They're not part of Cal State. They're not part of the UC system. They're all on their own. And students can receive $9,220 a year there. So let me know if you have any questions at this time. Type them in the question area. Okay. So at the college, community college, it used to be called, now it's called College or Mount San Jacinto College, there was the California Promise program. So the California Promise program is highlighted here in red because the California Promise program actually is no longer being used at Mount San Jacinto College. It used to be 2 years of college free for all. But that is no longer the case. Now that's just at Mount San Jacinto College. That program still exists at other colleges like Riverside City College, Palomar College, and you have to look at the college to see if they're still using that program or not. But here specifically at Mount San Jacinto College, it is not. Now the California Promise Grant is still in effect, but the California Promise Grant depends on parent income. So the students that have financial need, if it's determined, they still will qualify to receive a grant to pay for their tuition. That's going to provide first-time, full-time students with free tuition. So the grant is still in effect, but the California Promise program is not. Okay, so we do have a question, great question. How do you apply for a Cal Grant? So all you have to do is fill out one application. If you file FAFSA, that is going to be an application for all. So filing FAFSA and filing the California Dream Act application, that's going to give you a response back on Cal Grant. So it's not a separate application, just one application for all. Okay, I also wanted to go over a few grants that are available as well. So this is a grant for students that are undocumented, and this is called the Dream Act Service Incentive Grant. So for students that are undocumented, they can volunteer their time for a certain amount of hours each year, and students can receive $4,500 additional dollars each year. And this is through the Dream Act Service Incentive Grant. Here is a website with more information for our students, and that's going to be if students complete 300 service hours within the school year. Okay, there's also other programs such as this one, the College Corps. Okay, and each year there's up to 10,000 qualifying students on a certain campuses, and this is going to be, again, some money for students. Okay, so you can look at these. Now, these are not all the grants. There's so many different programs that we can't go over all of them tonight, but I will send you a link so that later you can look at everything that there is to offer. There's also the HBCU Transfer Grant Program, and this is the historically Black colleges and universities. So students can receive up to $5,000 in one-time grant funds. We do have the link for you here as well. There's also the Student Success Completion Grant, and this is for students going to college such as Mount San Jacinto. If students qualify for the grant, this is meant to help students work less and focus more on going to school full time. If the student does qualify based on income, students can get up to $8,000 a year in additional support to help them cover education and living expenses. Hopefully that means that students can work less and take more classes so that they're on track to get their degree. For foster youth, we do have our foster youth filling out the Chafee Foster Youth Grant. This is a separate application. So this is, we do ask students to fill out the FAFSA, and then we ask students to fill out the Chafee grant. So for current or former foster youth, they can earn up to $4,500 per year for their education. At the University of California, they do have what's called the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. I do need to update this slide because we just went to the UC virtual conference and we found out that families that where their students, where the family income is $100,000 and less, students will have their tuition covered. Okay, so that is a grant Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. So for example, we have some previous students that are at UC Riverside. Their family income is under $100,000 a year. The students qualify to have free tuition. So some students are commuting, and that's a way for students that they aren't taking out loans, but they're able to go to the university and have their tuition paid for. Okay, one moment. Okay. So during this time, we also had Counselor Will Warren join us. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Okay, and I wanted to go over this as well. There is a scholarship called the Middle Class Scholarship. Now, to be eligible for this scholarship, all you have to do is apply for the FAFSA or the California Dream Act application. So even though it's called scholarship, it's not competitive. If you qualify, you're automatically going to be assigned this scholarship. So as we can see here, it is a sliding scale. So students can receive a certain amount. Now, this is for families that are up to $250,000 family income per year. So if you are a family that has $250,000 per year and your student's going to pursue education in California at a UC, at a Cal State, then they are eligible for a middle class scholarship. So this, again, I wanted to go back to some of the myths. I have talked to some parents already that had told me previously their students did not qualify for financial aid, but now we do have the middle class scholarship. So families that are under that 250,000 income ceiling, they will qualify for some type of financial aid. And I'm checking to see if there are any questions at this time. Okay, so another form of financial aid is work study. Okay, and work study is for students are eligible to get job on campus. In case you or your student haven't not been on a university campus, it's almost like a small city. So at UC Riverside, they have, for example, Coffee Bean. They used to have Miguel's Jr., Panda Express. They also have rec centers, which are these wonderful gyms. They have media centers, and students can work all over campus. and they're earning a paycheck. So for example, Cal State San Bernardino, they have the Habit Grill, they have their bookstores. There's so many locations where students can work. They do work around the students' schedule. And that's kind of nice because the student's not feeling so pressured. Sometimes when a student has a job off campus, they can't really be flexible with their work hours. And so this is a great way to make sure that the student is still staying dedicated to their studies and maintaining their grades, but also earning a paycheck. And just want to let you know that we do have a Golden State Teacher Grant. So if we have any future teachers out there, you probably have heard this before, there is a teacher shortage. And so one way to incentivize students or to inspire them to become teachers is to offer financial assistance. So the program, it does award up to $10,000, which the amount has been reduced. But students can now earn up to $10,000 towards their education if they are interested in becoming a teacher. Now, when our students are applying currently for the universities, there is a question in there asking the students if they are interested in becoming a future teacher, if they're interested in a credential program. And here's some more information as well. This is the Teacher Education Residency Program. So if you want to take a look at this. Now, one thing I didn't include in this slide, but I do want to talk about it going back to UC Riverside. So going back to UC Riverside, this year, Riverside City College started a brand new program, and the brand new program is actually in partnership with UC Riverside. So there's students that are attending school at Riverside City, but they're actually living in dorms. And so it's like a transfer program, and students are going to be able to get from RCC to UC Riverside. So it's the whole experience. And I just want to let you know that that's available for students as well. So let's go ahead and talk about scholarships. And I'm looking to see if we have any other questions at this time. Okay. So there are a lot of scholarships available. One I do want to talk to you about before we go further is that we do have a partnership, the CSU pilot program. So this was piloted last year in Riverside County, the Cal State universities. They did a direct admissions program with our students. So students that had a certain GPA and met the A through G requirements have automatic admissions. Now, some of those universities include Cal State LA, Chico State, Cal State Stanislaus, Cal State San Marcos. There's many more, Sonoma State. There's a lot on the list. But the students, if they meet the A through G requirements and a 2.5, as long as they're not applying to an impacted major like nursing, the students are accepted. All they have to do is apply. And in fact, all the students that met the A through G requirements, they did receive a $70 voucher to pay for one Cal State application. We are having our students log into californiacolleges.edu now, and they're launching the Cal State application. Another great feature on launching through CCGI, California Colleges, is that when the student launches their application from here, it will automatically import the academic history. That saves time, and it also eliminates errors for our students. So right now, the students have a $70 voucher. If they don't know their voucher code, they can come see their counselor, and we have the code for them as well. But this is going to waive that $70 fee because each campus application is $70. Some students are going to qualify to apply to 4 campuses for free based on their income. And so this would be a 5th campus, or it's going to be one free application. So I always encourage students that have a middle to maybe like a 3.5 GPA or higher. I always encourage them to apply to Cal State Long Beach. Now, Cal State Long Beach is not part of the direct admissions. So students still have to apply and be accepted. But there is another application that's going to be coming out from Cal State Long Beach, and that's the Presidential Scholarship. And that is full tuition and meal plan and housing for 4 years for our students. So I'm always encouraging students to look at those different programs. When we're done here tonight, I'm going to send this recording, and I'm also going to send the other presentation that we had for our seniors that includes links for all of those scholarships. If the students log into their California Colleges account under financial aid, there's also another page full of scholarship search engines. There's scholarship search engines such as Career One Stop, Big Future, Sally Mae, Unigo, FastWeb, and Scholarship America. Students can go here and they create free accounts. They're going to put in their identifying information and other information regarding what they're looking for, and they're going to start receiving scholarship matches for the students to apply. There's also the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So we do exchange students with the Western states, where our students won't pay out-of-state tuition. So they will still pay tuition, but it's not going to be at a higher rate, because when you leave the state and you're going into, let's say, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, you're going to be paying out-of-state tuition, which means that your tuition can be double or even higher. So with the Western Undergraduate Exchange, students can explore the different universities. Some of them are only by majors. So students can explore that, where they can get prorate, like a lower rate on tuition, and they can look at those different programs as well. Okay, to launch the financial aid application, students are going to log into their California Colleges account, and they're going to launch their financial aid application here. So it is currently open. We are going to be offering a workshop, and in the attendance sheet, we did put in some information there where we are asking families to let us know how they want to work on the application. If they want to work on their own from the privacy of their own home, if they want to come to a Saturday workshop, or if they want to come after school, because we are available to help our students. We do have CalSO coaches on our campuses. They're here on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and your student probably has told you they've been called in and also been offered assistance to help the students, not only with college applications, but also with financial aid. The good news for your student is that the financial aid application used to be 140 questions long. It's now reduced to about 30 questions. So there's a lot less for your student to work on. So what are the next steps now that we know what financial aid is? It's going to be to make sure that your seniors logging into California colleges, that they're going to the financial aid tab, that they are launching their financial aid. All students are going to be asked to create a federal secure ID. And that's going to be where they're going to enter their identifying information. They're going to enter their name exactly the way it appears on their social security card. We always ask students to take a picture of their social security card, but never bring the actual card to school. Don't email it to anybody, because that's not secure. It's putting your information at risk. Also, if your student's coming to receive help and they're bringing tax information, we always ask the student to take a picture of it and lock their phone, but never bring the actual documents, and never email the documents as well. Some parents like to make an appointment and bring the documents in themselves, which is perfectly fine. Okay, so the application here says December 1st, but it's actually October 1st. It's open now. So you're going to see that a lot of times we're going to ask your students some questions, and because we're trying to determine where they are financially, and we're also trying to help them to fund their education. So here you're going to receive this as well. And this is scholarship information. So I'm going to see if I can click on one of these just to show you. So here's one scholarship website, and this is going to be Scholarship America. Okay, so as you can see here, you're going to be able to create your free account, but here you can also browse scholarships. I'm going to see if I can click on this link for you to see. But when we do, you're going to be able to see an entire list of scholarships available for your students. So as I'm doing this, type in any questions that you may have. Okay, so here we see some of the scholarships that are available. And again, this is just one application. So there's also other websites and companies that offer scholarships as well. For example, McDonald's offers scholarships, Chick-fil-A offers scholarships, Coke offers scholarships, Pepsi. I also highly recommend that you follow the College and Career Center on social media, or you read the emails from Mr. David Rodriguez. He's our college and career tech, and he sends out a newsletter with a lot of scholarship information as well. Okay, so let me share the screen again, and we're going to continue the presentation. We're almost at the end. Okay. Now, some of our students have the need to get to work right away. They aren't able to go to a university or a college full time. Some students do need to work and get an education, or some students really want on the job training. So there's also apprenticeships available. Some students can go to school to do HVAC technician, biomedical equipment technician, medical assistant, x-ray technician. There's so much available. So here you're going to receive a link to an apprenticeship finder. So students can work and also go to school at the same time. Some students have done this to become electricians, and they're getting paid, and they're also going to school at the same time. So those are called apprenticeships. And here we have apprenticeship finder with all of the information. Now, please know that we do have a College and Career Center, and counselors are also available to help and assist so that we can help our students find their future career. And by the time they graduate, hopefully they will have everything in order for financial aid, college applications, and even more. There's also a program called CalKids, and CalKids is a program that was created. There was a surplus of money during distance learning, and so some students have an account, and in their account they have anywhere from $500 to $1,500. They just have to claim their account. The College and Career Center has been calling in students so that they can claim their accounts and help them. It's so fast and it's so easy. The students just need their date of birth, the county they were in during that time, and then they also need their school, their state ID number, which they can find through Infinite Campus. A lot of students are excited to find that once they claim their account, they actually have over $500 because it did earn interest. Now, if a student doesn't have an account, that means that they weren't eligible at the time and they can't get an account now. But there are other ways for students to fund their future. But we just want to make sure students claim their account. They're aware of this. Once the student knows where they're going to go to college, we'll help them distribute their money. So that way it will go through their financial aid. Now, we say students can get anywhere from $500 to $1,500. $500 was the minimum that was put in per student. And if the student was a foster youth, they received another $500. If a student was homeless, they received another $500. So that's why we say up to $1,500 students can have in their account. Students can also open up, or families can open up a Scholarshare 529, and they can add money into that Scholarshare 529. That's also another program that students can use, and they can link that to their CalKids account that does accrue interest as well. So you could take a look. Sometimes they do an incentive. They had one about 2 weeks ago. If you opened an account, they would deposit $50 into the account for your student. So if nothing else, that's a great program to have, and that's like a free $50 right there. So again, we went over these today. These are California's. This is California's money, and you can receive this money by filling out the FAFSA or the California Dream Act application, although the Chiefy grant, that is a separate application. Okay, so we do have these recommended workshops for you. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. But coming up on Wednesday, November 19th, there's going to be the Parents Guide to College Admission and Merit Scholarships. Merit scholarships are free money given to student based on their GPA and not parent income.